Hello! Can you hear me, mother? Yeah. Do comment below. We've got the next 30 seconds of going. Is it working? Can I hear you? Is it working? We're hoping you can. I like you're referring to yourself in the third person. Can you hear Robin? Rob? Ah, can't hear Robin again. Right, give me a second. I don't know why it keeps doing this. It's very irritating. Very irritating indeed. Right, here we go. Robin is gone. And adding Robin back in now. I don't even know why it does it. It's very irritating. Very irritating. There's a giant Robin. Let's make him a less giant Robin. Here we go. Hopefully, people can now hear you, Robin. Or see you at least. Bit late, but yeah. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Anybody out there in the world who uses OBS and Skype and stuff like that, let me know if you know why, but I don't know why that is. Please comment if you can hear Robin now.
Apparently they can. Definitely much worse, Ed, when you say.
Thanks, Ed. Much appreciated. So how is everybody in the world tonight? Do hope everybody's having fun in Beastgrave land.
Yes, everybody. Cheers, Bradley. Bradley likes the show. Everybody recovering from the Grand Clash. Is anybody in? There's only 11 of you, but anybody in who went to the Grand Clash, watching us tonight?
Yeah,
give us a shout. Let us know how the event went. Let us know if it was better or worse without us there. There's only one acceptable answer to that question.
We are going to be touching on, obviously, the Grand Clash tonight, the results from the Grand Clash, next year's Grand Clash. Hello to everybody who's joined. Hello, Jason, Cuba, Daniel, Bradley, Andrew, Edward, Kyle. Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking Beastgrave, Grand Clash, and anything else we can think about at the same time.
And Ed's curveball questions that he posted in Patreon.
Ed has chucked us some questions. I'm assuming that obviously our resident questioner has died because we didn't.
He's in the channel, right?
Yeah,
he's here. But he's obviously had a busy week.
Yeah, I don't know. We're here slaving away. At least you could do is ask us 13 questions.
Rob Sharp watched the final on Twitch. It was a bit chaotic fun to watch though. Yeah, I missed most of the Twitch stream. I did watch a little bit of it, but I missed pretty much all of it.
I did watch the Twitch stream whilst doing other things. I was quite annoyed by the audio. I wish they could put it somewhere a bit quieter, so when they're tidying up in the background or whatever they were doing, that it's not quite so chaotic.
You've got the lady with the Hoover in the background,
just coming through the set. I can't hear now. And the other thing that annoyed me a little bit was the fact that the guys commentating, Nick and John, obviously
second best AOS commentators.
Yeah, I mean
they're the worst commentators in the world.
They're a good duo, but I think we can think of at least one other duo that might be better at commentating it than them.
Batman and Robin.
That makes me Batman. I'm all for that. I'll just get one of the masks. Here we go. I'm Batman. So anyway, the other thing that annoyed me about it was the fact that they didn't really know what was going on sometimes. So at some points they were sitting there chatting away, and they're like, "Oh God, what's he done? Oh no, they've screwed up. They've got the dice rolls wrong. Oh, should we tell them? No, we can't tell them because that'd be interfering. We can't interfere in the game. Oh no, wait a minute, they did that. Sorry, completely something else. Never mind, wasn't that at all.
Are they like Attenborough? They can't interfere with Beastgrave in the wild.
Well,
you can't.
Yeah, they said at one point they were watching it, and they said, "Oh, so and so's forgotten to pick up a glory for that kill. We can't really say anything because obviously you can't do that." And I kind of agree with that. You can't really have someone sit there going, "Oh, you forgot that and you forgot that." It's up to the players at the time to do it. So I kind of see that, but at the same time, it was a bit odd that they didn't know what was going on sometimes. And I know they've got someone sitting near the table, I think, writing it all down, typing it all out, so they can then read what's going on. Obviously, I don't know if he got something wrong or he mistyped something or they misunderstood what he typed. I just feel like if they had a microphone at the table feeding an earpiece, they'd be able to hear what was being said. It would just make
it's quite quite a room for error if somebody typing something and then somebody interpreting what somebody's typed. That I can see how that could go wrong. What I was quite refreshed by, and I hope lots of people who tend to comment on our videos realises how easy it is, even for really, really good players who admittedly in the final have been playing for a very long time that weekend, can still make really, really simple mistakes. Like forgetting to pick up glory or
at one point they had to
killing the wrong person or whatever it was.
Yeah, and at one point they had to ask the guy who was writing all of this out whose turn it was or which turn they were on or something like that, because they'd forgotten that as well. So it's easy to do. It's very easy to do.
It is when you get into it, especially with all the chopping and changing of reactions and cutting in and all that kind of stuff. You end up sometimes, and we've done it numerous times, where it feels like maybe you've played aggressive defence and cut in. You feel like it's your turn, and then maybe have somebody has an extra go, or they completely miss their go, and it feels like you've been total idiots when you put it out, or not live, but you put it out on video, and everybody can watch it dispassionately and see it. But actually, in the heat of the moment, I think there must be in every single Warhammer game or Underworlds game, probably all games.
Warhammer,
countless mistakes.
I think so. I definitely think that's and if you ask someone at the time, it's a bit like those videos where they say, watch these people dribbling a basketball, and you watch them and they dribble the basketball and they say count how many times they bounce the ball, and then you count it, and at the end you go, okay, there were 13 times they bounced the ball and passed it, or whatever it was, and then the question comes up, did you see the gorilla? And then you're like, what freaking gorilla? And then you watch the video back again, you realise there's a guy in a gorilla costume walks right through the middle of it, and you're like, how did I not see that? And your brain, obviously you don't know the things you didn't see or the things you forgot. So after a game you sit there and thinks, you're just sitting there after the game thinking, oh well, I scored this much glory and that all went well and I didn't make any mistakes that game. But if someone then turned around to you and said you completely missed your third activation or something like that, you'd be sitting there going, no I didn't, but because we record it, it's out there for everyone to see forever.
We've actually taught ourselves out of saying, I don't think we made any mistakes tonight in the wash up at the end, because we always have.
There's always something, even if it's something minor like you roll a dice and you forget an assist, which are really easy mistakes to make, up through to the point where you sometimes forget or get an extra activation because you forget
that could never happen.
I'm sure, Robin, you've never made a 4 activation round.
Gonna happen in a video near you this week.
Certainly not a Halloween special at all. There certainly isn't. No.
But to be fair, it's really up to you to notice whether I've played an extra turn, isn't it?
Well, that is part of it. That is part of it. And there's two people playing. It's up to both parties. The fact that I'm, keeping an eye on the cameras and the audio and all the rest of it is besides the point. It's just one of those things. You forget these things. It's just how the game goes sometimes. I dread to think what it's like in 40k and AOS sometimes when people are playing. Some of the things they forget to do or move, or they accidentally move something and then they move it back and then they move it somewhere else and they've ended up moving. I think
it's okay in those games though, because nobody actually knows what the proper rules are at any point in time, so I think it's all right.
There is an element of that, I think. There definitely.
Okay, we've got a few more people in. Anonymous Jeff is here. He's asking you to hang from the ceiling to provide live battle cam and sound, Pete. Andrew Marlowe said he's going to give us 10 questions next week, and we've got H for Reba. He's saying hello from Spain, so hello.
There we go.
And then there's some guy called Agents of Sigmar says if you've got any questions, go out and shout.
Sounds like an idiot.
Ed's being beaten up by his wife. D Cubed he organises Warhammer Underworlds at his local shop, and it's the first Beastgrave event, and thought the rule changes were minor, and then saw the change on board placement. Yes, it's a really nice change, the board placement rule. I'm guessing it caused changing dynamic at the Grand Clash, because I think it's massively it's a big change. Pete, what are you doing?
I'm Batman. I was hanging from the ceiling.
I see. Sorry. No, I didn't. Sorry, I was too busy reading.
Yeah,
I can't read.
I agree.
I can't read and get jokes at the same time.
I do think that the board placement thing is definitely a biggie. And it's featured. Well, I say it features in every one of our games, but obviously it does because we have to roll the dice. But I think nearly every time one of us has won the roll, we've chosen to place the board first and let the other person set the boards up.
Yeah, we have been playing quite objective-heavy meta, haven't we? So I think that's why. I think maybe playing a slightly different meta, I might not. But even so. Even if you are playing, if you think your opponent is, having 3 objectives in your half is an advantage anyway. So
and I was listening to the latest What the Hex podcast today, and they were talking about it on there, and objectives matter now, whether you're offensive or not. Objectives still matter because there are so many cards now that enable you to move people onto objectives and stuff like that. And there's obviously shifting reflections, the one where you can swap two people over. And even if you're not after objectives, there's a very good chance that your opponent will be. So if you can get 3 in your half, that could stuff their game up quite a bit.
Yeah, and there's the objective, which is beyond an objective, beyond one objective in each half, which is really quite easy to score with cards like Shifting Reflection. So immediately you've got people playing it. And I wonder whether cards like Lethal Ward or whatever it is that does damage people on objectives will come back. I think I nearly picked it last time, but then didn't.
It was like the 12th card. Game. The 12th card.
Yes.
In the deck.
Yeah.
Well, my deck for tomorrow, I've got 11 of each, and I really want to try and cut it down to 10 because I think 10 of each really is the way to go these days. But
okay. You say that, but the Auric deck that did really well had 13 of each.
Ooh, interesting.
I'll talk about that more later, but it had 13 of each. Yes, I've currently got 16 of each in mine, but I haven't cut it down yet. No.
Well, let's have a look at what the top 16 were then, as we're there. So
I made notes.
So did you have any notes on the top 16 players? Because I've got the list here. If not,
not the actual names.
Okay, well, no, not the names, just the warbands.
Okay, no, I didn't know that down.
So of the top 16, there was a Mollog, there were Curse Breakers, Grimwatch, Thundrix, more Grimwatch, Thorns, lots more Grimwatch, Curse Breakers again, some more Grimwatch, some more Profiteers, Curse Breakers, and Eyes, and then another Thundrix. So it's interesting, there were no Gits, there were no Despoilers, there were no Hunt.
No, I think there were...
no Guardians, no... Guardians of the Galaxy, can't remember the name. The Treeple, none of them. So and only one Mollog. So it's all interesting stuff.
The Eyes deck was a Tomes deck, and at least one of the Thundrix decks was a Tomes deck.
Yes, I remember someone saying about
that. Which was interesting. Yeah, the Tomes deck is by Bartosz, who I actually played at the previous Grand Clash, and he was third, and he was a Thundric Tomes deck, and it did really nicely. Although he was 17th, and because the Super Auric guy couldn't make it, he was got in the top 16, but then made it through to the top 3.
I didn't mention that there was an Auric player who came 12th, but he couldn't make it the next day, so he was out.
He's one of our patrons. That's Timothy, one of our patrons.
Was it?
Yeah.
And he didn't mention this.
Well, he didn't, even when you said, apparently there was an Auric deck in the patron chat. He didn't come back and go, yes,
it was me,
I know.
You giant lord. I didn't know that. Well, congratulations. Can't believe you managed that. Well done.
And the deck is, I might as well talk about it now. The deck, it just clearly shows how little I know about Underworlds. When I looked at the deck, I thought, how on earth did this deck come in the top 16 at the Grand Clash? Because it was a deck that on paper, to me, the way I play, perhaps, didn't look like it was anything. But I had a look at his scores, and it was really consistent. In the first 2 games, the first 2 matches, he scored 34 glory. In the third game, he scored 36 glory, and he did lose in the 4th game. But yeah, that's 34, 34, 36. That's pretty consistent scoring.
That's not bad at all.
But it had Annihilation in it, which I don't think very many.
That's brave.
Conquest and Denial.
I guess if you kill everybody, they can't get in your half.
It had Keep Chopping in it, and it had Punch Up in it, which I've almost never been able to score. Punch Up is quite similar to Keep Chopping.
Yeah.
But you have to make an attack.
Successful attacks?
No, it's you have to make attack with at least
3 different people.
All of your warband, I think, on different people, and it's at least 2. And I've only ever found at the beginning of the game you can't score it because it's really hard to score people when you've got 4 Aurics alive, and if it comes out towards the end of the game, you've normally only got 1 Auric left, and you can't score anyway. So I haven't taken that card for years, but he had that in there, and he had 26 power cards.
Wow.
That's
impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder if that gives him the opportunity to, if you draw a lot of upgrades, to then throw those 5 upgrades away or whatever, and then redraw. But then even still, you're still.
Yeah, he had
the 20. I mean,
it's crazy. I think he had the new cycle through the deck card. I can't remember what it's called.
Frenzied Search. Yeah.
I think he had that, but I've looked at several decks, so I might have misremembered. He had Madness Darts in it. I'd love to ask him how Madness Darts worked.
Well, you can ask him. He's one of our patrons. You should ask him on the channel.
Well, I know he's not. I don't think he's here tonight. Sometimes he chooses.
I meant in patron. You could ask.
Well, I'm going to ask him now. Timothy, did you?
Did you, Timothy?
Just like my wife, you don't listen, never answer. I think the deck is amazing. I'd love to try it out because the thought of having Annihilation punch up, conquest and denial in there just seems crazy to me. But clearly, it's a very consistent glory scorer. We're looking at roughly 17, 18 a game.
That's pretty impressive
for the winning games.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And of course, also mentioned, my Chrome is taking. It's not updating very well. It's struggling a bit because I still haven't bought us a new machine yet. So apologies for the fact that the quality is still a bit naff.
You talk about your Chrome. I thought you were talking about your forehead.
Oh, thank you very much. Also, David Christie mentioned there was a Sepulchral Guard player that went three rounds without a loss, and he was the only person who beat Jay Clare. He only lost one game, and it was to the Sepulchral Guard player, from what I've been told. And he had a really interesting deck as well that had loads of really random cards in.
On the first day, you mean? Because obviously he did lose.
Yes, on the first day. He didn't make it through to the top 16, because I think he came about 30th in the end, because he did lose one game.
That's
and these
the
days, you've got the Sepulchral Guard player, and you've got to win all 4 games these days to get into the top 16, which pretty much precludes us from ever getting there.
I thought that was the case, but that actually isn't the case, because Jay Clare and Michael Carlin both lost games and both got through to the top 16.
I think it comes to the glory score at that point, doesn't it? So
so that was an interesting, because they both played Grimwatch, so they're kind of like Grimwatch, sort of disproportionately represented, but actually some of the really best players were taken up, because Jay and Michael are both awesomely good players.
It's a bit like when we went with and you took the hunt, and there were a lot of very good players with the hunt there.
Yeah, there was lots of very good people, and me
and Robin.
Well, why don't we keep bringing that up?
I think it's a good idea. Where did you come again, Robin?
I came actually for this one. I came much higher.
If you take your placing from the last one and add
I'd have come 40 places better.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But the Sepulchral Guard deck had some really interesting cards in it, because it had Quickening Greaves in it, which I took in one of our games recently. It had things like Fameway Crystal and things like that, Mutating Maul and Frightening Speed. So it had a lot of the classic upgrade cards in there. It had other things in there, like it only had a 10 and 10 deck. It had ploys in there like Countercharge and Shifting Reflection, Centre for Attention, that kind of thing, and Terrifying Screams, because there aren't that many. I did wonder about it, because Terrifying Screams is handy because it obviously enables you to push people off of objectives now and stuff like that. But at the same time, or push people onto objectives if you want. But could you get the same thing out of things like Centre of Attention or Irresistible Prize? I don't know.
What does Terrifying Screams do? Sorry,
Terrifying Screams is basically distraction, but you don't get distraction anymore these days. So
okay.
So some warbands still have distraction. Okay. I think the Fire Slayers have a specific card which enables you to move either one of your guys or one of the opponents, and that's going to be an awesome card for the Fire Slayers going forward. But the objectives the guy had. He had things like Tactical Supremacy 2 and 5, where I was like, oh, wow, okay, I don't think I'd pick that. He had Dug In, he had Path to Victory and Swift Capture, which are all get over the other side. So it was a really interesting looking deck. And
it's Dug In the one where you score 4 if you scored Supremacy last time?
Yeah, basically you have to have 3 at the end of the last round and then 3 this round. But things like Quickening Greaves could help you in that situation.
Yes,
so
it's still a tough ask though.
It is a very tough ask.
But he must have done it. He must have done it reasonably consistently, I would guess.
Yes, he said his tactic was to be quite defensive and sit back. And mostly just go for objectives, and then if someone came after him, he would sort of go try and take him out. But he wouldn't res people very often. So yeah, interesting.
No, I think it's hard to res people with the Sepulchral Guard, isn't it? Because you haven't got much movement. And
he had deployed to auto res, but that was
the economy of isn't that great, and unlike the Grimwatch where you get to do it for free a couple of times.
His name was Sam Scott, by the way. He did post his deck online on Facebook, so I have captured it, kept hold of it, so I'll hopefully going to try that at some point.
Yeah, Bartosh's deck, who came third, is on Well of Power. He's done a little one of those little deck summaries of it that they have on Well of Power, which is really nice. And
So Anonymous Jeff has said that the bestest card ever is Madness Darts in theory.
And
I agree. In theory, it looks brilliant, and it looks like you could really use it to paralyse a Mollog player or someone who's really souped up Vortimus or Stormsire or something like that. Yeah, but I just I can't bring myself to take it over all the other cards that I've got at the minute. So I'm not 100%
It's a bit difficult because for us, although we try not to think about what the other person is playing, you kind of know, and therefore, I mean, I think if I was going to play, if I was going to take it to a Grand Clash, I might be more likely to, because you're going to play more people across the 4 games or many play. So maybe I take it. I don't know. So I've got a few questions here. Andrew's congratulating anybody who plays an Orc deck, and David says he watched both days, and GW should use our streaming setup.
Not this streaming setup, I assume you mean, because this sucks. But how our games end up looking, I agree. I think they need to have some kind of additional camera on the cards, so that you can see the cards as well, and then they could swap between the cards and the warbands. The problem they have is that it's live, and we can do all that prep after the game and stuff like that, so it is quite hard.
You set up your garage in a side room for feature games, that would be the best. We could do that. I could take the garage all the way to Warhammer World.
Yeah, there's not actually that much equipment. We would need a couple of stands, and then the lights in that place aren't too bad, so you wouldn't actually need that. No,
that's true. Yeah, it'd be interesting. We are actually on the verge. I say on the verge. We're not that far off on our Patreon funds to actually do live streaming as one of our goals, isn't it?
Yes, I think we're just $312 of $350, and when we hit $350,
it'd be interesting to see when we hit that how that goes. I think there's going to be some teething issues, I dare say.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Most of all, you guys get to see how much thinking and going backwards and forwards there is playing the game. I'm going to move here. No, I'm not.
No. Let's just go back 3 turns, because I didn't do that thing I meant to do to set this entire thing up. So Late Night Poker used to have glass tables, table cameras to show the current hands. Yeah, they did, and quite often poker shows have that now. The problem is with that is generally they have their cards face down, whereas most of the time when you're playing the game, you've got your cards in your hand because you have to keep looking at them. So I'm not sure how they could do it. Really,
still forget to play that reaction, even though you're looking at them. So.
You look at it. Oh, I've got that reaction. Cool, he's doing that thing I can react to.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't play that reaction.
That's your signature move. That is.
It is. The other problem we might have as well is obviously playing and streaming live is trying to get the bandwidth so we can actually broadcast it from your garage. That could be a trick as well.
Yeah, we'll have to get a big satellite area or something.
Yes, and our live games certainly aren't going to be the same quality as our recorded and edited games, so there will be...
Visual quality, the play standard will be just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff says, think you will play any of the GC decks on the channel? I would like to, and I'm definitely thinking, we have been thinking about playing the Auric versus the Sepulchral Guard. Didn't we? Did we discuss that today, Pete? Yes. Didn't we, briefly? So that will be quite fun to bring to the game. The other games, the other decks, I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know. The Thundrick Tome deck, I actually played one not that long ago, before the end of Nightbolt.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
And so, but this obviously is, as Bartra says in his little intro, it's quite different now because of the restriction, the more restricted cards, and so it's quite. If you play Acolyte of the Cataphrane and Tome of Offerings, which he didn't play, I don't think that's 2 restricted cards already. But he got 1 left. So yeah. Any chance we're going to go into Blood Bowl 2? There was a new edition for 2020. Oh my goodness, that's Pete done for the evening.
Really?
That's it, he's out. Oh, well, I'll just carry on talking while Pete just...
I love Blood Bowl. Robin's not a fan, so we probably won't put it on the channel, really. But I'm interested seeing that they're bringing out a new version in 2020. I presume it's just going to be a slight update with the rules updates and stuff that they've done since
new teams then. Maybe
well, they still haven't done all the teams from the actual game itself. There's still loads they could do, I think.
They could bring a couple more new teams that they haven't done, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, true. Although people might get even more annoying because they want the ones that they haven't done yet first rather than other ones, but yeah, we could see. Dave Chris says John Reed was great as a commentator. I think we'd be better, just saying. What was the turnout for the Grand Clash? It was about 112 or something like that. It was definitely 110s, I believe.
What was that, sorry?
Andrew Mullo asked what was the turnout for the Grand Clash.
No, it's 100. Yeah, it was, 110.
112 or 110, something like that. It was quite a few. And I think the game that we played or the Grand Clash we attended was in the 60s. In the 80s, I think. So, yeah.
Super Fantasy Brawl, David Christie has asked me what the Kickstarter. I didn't buy it. I just did a little preview of it. I haven't backed it. I was hoping that they might send me a copy so that we could play it, but I haven't heard from them since. So they clearly didn't like my intro.
Yeah,
Super Fantasy Brawl.
And we've got so many other things that are going on at the minute. We're not that fussed if they don't ask us to cover it, because if we tried to cover that as well, we'd have to stop doing other stuff. So
yeah,
and we don't have enough time to do everything we want to do as it is. Talking about the Grand Clash, I was quite happy to see the types of warbands going into the whole thing. There was a good spread of all the different warbands. I think nearly all the warbands were represented.
1/5 of the warbands were Grimwatch.
Yeah, which was kind of inevitable, I think.
Is that because they're really powerful, or because they're new, or both?
Both, and I think they're powerful because people don't know how to deal with them yet.
Well, maybe. I was wondering about this power creep malarkey because there was a simultaneous Grand Clash in the US, wasn't there? The SoCal one. Yeah, which, to be honest, if I was going to go to Nottingham or Southern California, I might go to Southern California. But
it'll take you about the same amount of time to get to either.
Well, yes. I think Lady Harrow won over there too.
Yeah.
So there's suggestion that the new warbands might be strong there. But as I said, the Grimwatch, you've got some of the already proven great players playing them this weekend. Yeah. So it's hard to know whether they were the best, but they did take, I think, five through to the last 16.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
That was about 5.
I've written some numbers down here. They mean nothing to me now.
Just imagine you just got this.
It says 23, 14, 7, 5, which I think is the unbeaten numbers of warbands. So there were 23 unbeaten. There were 23 went into it. 14 were unbeaten after round 1, 7 after round 2, and 5 after round 3. Unfortunately, I didn't write down what happened after round 4, so I don't know.
There were quite a few on there. Yeah.
The Thors did really well. There were a lot less Thorns, but they did really well. Like 3 of them were unbeaten after round 3.
Yeah, and poor old Garrick's Reavers. I don't think they won a single game.
And Phil Kelly, who was runner-up, he won all of the games prior to that. He was the only person to win all. He won 6 in a row.
Nice.
I'm getting this information from Well of Power.
Yeah. Do check out Well of Power. He's got some awesome write-ups.
Jonathan does an amazing job of passing the stats. And I kind of like thinking, I haven't really got time for the stats. So they're not that interesting. Who's interested in those? And there's this latent statistician in me came out when I was looking at it this afternoon. Preparing for nights. Like, oh, yes, exactly. Oh, these are interesting. Oh, who knew?
I mean, there was one Sepulchral Guard who was round 3 undefeated, obviously, because he won 3-1. Iron Skull's Boys, there was one who was round 3 undefeated. Curse Breakers, you kind of expect to see some. Thorns of the Bridegreen, like you said, there were 3 of them. Mollugs Mob, there was one. Thunderix Prophecies, there was a couple in Grimwatch, but most others had suffered at least a loss after the second game. So I was also quite heartened to see that Spike Claws Swarm. There were 7 Spike Claws warbands there. Quite happy to see.
Yeah, but only one of them was unbeaten after game 1. I didn't notice
their games weren't great. Zarbags, poor old Zarbags, they didn't do very well.
Okay, that's funny. I thought they'd be quite good in this new meta. I thought they'd be all right
because they won. They did the skirmish the day before, didn't they?
They won that, yeah.
And there was 5 of them, and only at the end of round 1 there was 1 undefeated Zarbags warband, and then that was it. After that, they'd all been defeated by them. So,
all right. Okay. Brian says difficult to tell if Phil Kelly was good at shutting them down. I'm not sure who them in. Is that everybody else?
I think he was the guy the Grimwatch.
Okay. Yeah. So I haven't seen Phil's deck. I don't know what it's like. What sort of, whether it was objective grabbing or what's the word I'm looking for? Objective grabbing or offensive, or a mixture of the two. Probably a mixture of the two, but I haven't seen it, so I'd be interested to see what that was.
Yeah, there were some good moves when I was watching the final.
Okay.
There were some nifty little moves. Like at one point, the guy used Transfixing Stare on the Queen after the Queen had been hyped up a bit, and then he used the thing to make somebody move 2 hexes away, so shunted the Queen back so she couldn't hit anybody, because she was right in the middle of it to hit a lot of people for a while. And then he did that, and then took her out for a whole round, which was a nifty move.
Yeah, Michael's very good. He's a proper control player, isn't he? I think so. He likes that kind of. I imagine playing him must be very frustrating.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm going to put my person here in the right position, and then suddenly it's not anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And another thing that I heard on the What the Hex podcast that I was listening to, which is quite true, which is when you're picking your cards, you want to pick stuff that's good at control, that can screw your opponent up as well as help you, and things like the card where Shifting Reflections one where you can swap 2 people over can do that kind of thing. There's the one that moves the objective around. I can't remember what it's called now.
I would say Restless Prize,
something like that. Sure and that's great as well because you can shove it away from them and onto your players and all that kind of stuff, which is really good.
Yeah. You could use it to score, didn't even want it.
Exactly. Yeah. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. So, talking about the January Grand Clash, we will hopefully be going. I mean, we booked a hotel.
We've optimistically booked everything.
Yeah, we booked the hotel, we booked the ticket, so we're booked in. Whether we end up having to cancel it or not, I don't know. But at the moment, everything's booked in. So, fingers crossed and touch wood and all the rest of it, we will be there.
I'm slightly scared at the thought of all those people who were really good at Underworlds being there.
It didn't put us off that much last time, though.
No, it didn't. But I've done it. It's one of those things. Once you've done it the first time, it's like now I know what it's going to be like. It might be even worse. but I also really enjoyed the weekend as well. So it will be good. I'm not sure that I'm going to be up for 2 whole days worth. I don't think I have no illusions about qualifying for the second day.
Yeah, I think we're kind of.
But the skirmish day looks even harder than the tournament day.
6 games. 6.
Yeah. So
and there's 6 one-off games, which means you've got to unpack and set up and roll off and play the game and everything. Yeah. Whereas at least when you're doing a best of 3, generally you only play 2 games and you're already there, ready to play the second match. So, yeah, 6 one-off games seems.
I think I might just play casual games and eat chips in Bugman's on the second day.
Well, we were talking. We'll discuss it again near the time. But we were talking about if any of our Patreon supporters are going to be there, or anybody wants to meet up with us, we might try and organise maybe some more casual games on the Sunday for anybody who doesn't make the top 16 like us, and then we can hopefully have a little corner where we can have a bit of a chat and all that kind of thing, which would be quite nice. Okay,
Rob said that Phil's deck was super aggro. He thought he'd walk it after the first game as he really shut down the watch, stopping them inspiring, so he was super effective. We've played our Halloween game this week is funny enough completely by coincidence the repetition of the final. I imagine the decks are very different, but when I was looking at the Grimwatch, inspiring these guys against the Thorns is very, very tricky because the Thorns can walk with impunity into your half pretty much. It would be interesting to see. I would be interested to see the deck and. I didn't see the final, so I don't know how it went against Michael. But I'm guessing Michael was good at keeping people out of his area as well.
Yeah, the first game as well. The Grimwatch were quite a way ahead in the first game, and they played for nearly 60 minutes. So they only had just over 30 minutes to play the second and third games. The second game they finished in 20-odd minutes, and the Thorns player, I think, came back a fair bit in that one. So.
Right.
And then they only had time to play 1 round, which brings us on to another subject that we were going to discuss, which was the fact that they had to basically stop the third game after the first round. And what do people think about that? I personally, I don't mind. I don't think, because that's part of the game. You get 90 minutes, you've got to play the best of 3 to the best you can. So, but at the same time, it seems a bit of a letdown.
Yes, the comments have gone very chippy in the meantime. My comment about chips is everybody's wanting chips.
Anyone in the UK, it's like 10:30 p.m, so it's not chip time now.
Well, it kind of is. If I was out now and I come on my way home, I'd be thinking chips.
Well, that is true.
Yes. Yeah, Jeff is actually just what I was just about to say, but I got sidetracked by chips. He thinks the final deserves extra. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think chips or curly fries, maybe, Jason.
Really going off subject.
I think that like 2 hours for the final would make sense to me, just so that everybody can play. Players can play it properly. You want the final to be the best, and it's an interesting. I think Andrew raised it last time. The game with more objective play, the game takes longer. With a lot of the Nightmare meta, with the score immediately, the very fast scoring of cards. The game is quite quick and rapid fire.
That is true.
But with the new meta, which is tactically more interesting, the games take longer. Now that's an issue for running a tournament, because the more people, especially with lots of people, because the game's running on is a problem. So, but I feel like obviously you can. I always draw analogies with chess. Chess obviously has a time limit. People use chess clocks, and it has a time limit. But the time limit is quite long. And again, I know that some games players do chips. Some chips. The game is quite long. I know some people still use all that time, but the speed chess is a different game, and speed Underworld will be a different game to thinking about it a bit more Underworld. And I personally prefer thinking about it a little bit more.
Now that is something does that apply to other people as well as us? Because we, especially yourself, take a long time sometimes to plan things through. Does everybody find that, or once they're playing an objective-based deck in a tournament, do they find that they know what they're doing and they just have to bash out the same set of criteria, a bit like with an offensive deck? So you could also argue that maybe just because it's a final, if you suddenly give players 2 hours to play, you're kind of changing the setup of the game, and would that necessarily be a good thing or not? Don't know.
I think it would be okay. You don't want somebody in the final. You don't want somebody to go out because they made a mistake because they were rushed. I don't think you don't want that, especially as you showcase you, because somebody else further up the comments, which have been filled with chips, asked whether they normally stream the Grand Clashes, and they've tried before. I think this is the first time they've done it with any success. And they obviously don't do them all. I think it's just the ones they do at Warhammer World.
Just the Warhammer World ones, yeah.
And if you're going to have it as a visual showcase, you want it to be accurate. And I think you don't want. I think do they only play like one round of the third game to settle it? Seems a bit. It's really hard because I do also appreciate they had other time constraints, like their venue itself was shutting down. But even then, that's something to think about. Do they need to make sure that there's time for the venue to be open? I don't know.
Yeah, and Brian did point out just now they got extra time for the decider round, so they already got some extra time.
Oh, did they? Okay, fair enough. I didn't know
they didn't play the whole thing though. They only played the first round, so then played a 4 activation thing, and it was. I didn't see what the actual glory score at the end of that round was. If anyone did see it, do stick it in the comments, or it'd be nice to know just how much the loser lost by, because it'd be really irritating if you lost by a glory. I think it did get a bit swingy in the end, because people just throwing attacks off hoping to kill someone and get a glory because they didn't have any glory to buy upgrades and all that kind of thing. So I could see that in that instance I'd be a bit sick if I lost by like 1 glory,
or by a dice roll,
or by a dice roll like that.
I think I could obviously see the game needs time limits. But I think it's a shame if you're going to find that the tournament, because of the speed, and Andrew's commented that he pretty much gave up trying to play objectives in the previous Grand Clash and went aggro. It's a shame if the speed of the game has to be played at rules out one style of play.
Yeah,
that I would hate that to happen. Whether it will or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you play an objective deck well, you're going to be coining the glory, and so the chances are if you can do it well enough, you're going to be able to beat your opponent 2 games anyway, and that for an hour and a half should be plenty.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is more of a
as Dave Christie's pointed out, you are screwed if you have a tomb deck and you only get to play 1 round. Your chances of pulling that off are slim. I've never really liked the whole tomb deck thing. I know it's a valid tactic, it's a valid build.
It's just because you can't pronounce tome, isn't it? That's why you don't like it mostly.
It's a completely valid way of playing, but I kind of find it's a bit like what was it? The
Yahtzee.
No, it's nothing. Shut up.
No, sorry.
No, what was the one that they basically banned? Relics. It's a bit like a relic deck. It was just it's a way you can play it, but at the same time it's just a bit bleh. So I never really want to play that kind of thing.
Yeah, Andrew says especially as objective play really showcases the game. Even watching a game is far more exciting.
And Brian Andrew says that the policy is they don't interfere with games when the players make mistakes. There were some mistakes made. It felt like the players were getting a bit sloppy. We did talk about this earlier. I'm not sure if you were in at the beginning, Brian, when we were talking about this, but it is when you record, or when you're watching something recorded and you're watching it from the outside, it is amazing how many mistakes you make when you don't realise it.
Yeah, and the number of the number of mistakes that must be made when you've been playing for 2 days and you've played however many games and you're trying to squeeze this in the last hour and a half of the day. It must be the pressure, and there must be more and more mistakes. I suppose it's like any sport when the pressure's on. Not this is a sport, but when the pressure's on, mistakes come in.
I'd like to think that I could go to the amateur Olympic Shadespire event.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd let you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite tall enough. But I guess that is part of it, though. If you're really good at the game, you can make the moves and you can make the plays without having to think about it consciously as much, and therefore you're liable to make less mistakes. I don't know. You could argue that as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a competition, so at some point you've got to start, pitting people's ability against each other.
Yes. Now, this is a slightly off topic, but I just want to bring it up because it's come up a couple of times on our videos. No, it wasn't. It's because people have said relics a couple of times when you were trying to think of the word. These two formats, we talked about this last week, the relic format and the championship format. We've had a few people comment on our videos that cards are banned, and today we have one. Somebody said I've put Keep the Guessing in my deck and it's banned. Why have I put Keep the Guessing in my deck? Well, obviously the answer is it's not banned in championship play, it is banned in relic play. So there clearly is some confusion around which type of game cards are banned for. Do you think Games Workshop need to do anything to make that clearer? Because it's not a lot of people, but there's a significant minority of people have commented on that, and I thought, I don't know, I don't find it confusing, but I just wonder whether other people out there think that there could be some confusion. I'd hate to turn up to a tournament and find one person had planned for a relic deck and everybody else was really for championship. That would be pretty bad, wouldn't it?
That would be slightly annoying. I think personally they just need to stop doing all these different versions of the game. I mean, I agree that they need like a bar list version, like a Grand Clash version or something. Yeah. But it's things like you have to use a different board each time and all that kind of stuff. Why not put that in the core rules?
It needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like if you're going to have a relic thing, it needs to be a separate document. This is for a relic, so maybe it isn't a separate document. But I don't think it's quite separate enough yet. Clearly, for people who perhaps don't follow it closely, because I think also Games Workshop are terrible at organising their paperwork. So you might stumble across the relic bar list and not realise it doesn't apply to the other versions of the game.
Yeah, it's very likely.
So I'm just going to throw that out there. As
other games are worse in some ways, like 40k and AOS, because you have your main rule book, or with AOS, you've got your free rules, but then you've got so many different books that you have to buy to then be relevant for various campaigns and tournaments.
I've given up with those. I've actually this week gone out of the Facebook groups on a couple of those games. So I can't keep up with it, and I'm never going to play it because we're too busy with the Underworlds. So for that, largely for that reason.
Yeah, I know.
Relic games with the over 40s. Yes, Ed, that's why. I can enter those competitions and Pete can't.
It does annoy me a bit when they keep coming up with those, and they need they should just have a competitive set of rules, which are like your FARC list or bar list or whatever you want to call it.
Harp list.
So they need one set for tournaments and one set for casual play. And leave it at that. Anything more than that, it just starts to get confusing, especially for newer players who just come into the game. And they're like, "Sorry, what's a relic tournament? What's a grand? What are all these things?"
Also, calling it relic was a nightmare because there already were relics.
Yeah, exactly. That's another confusion.
I think relic was a really bad choice of word, but yes.
So we did get asked by Anonymous Jeff: do we have a target date for finalising our decks? He was making far too many changes in the last week. I've said we'll probably stop on about January the 18th.
Yeah, part of my undoing was because I made some changes in the last week, and I hadn't tested it. I thought it would be okay. There was exactly Power Unbound, and I think probably unless there's like a super duper, you really must include card. I think I probably, if they do that again, I'm not even going to look.
The trouble was,
I'm just going to play what I got.
They did release several super duper must-have cards because they then restricted a load of them.
Well, yeah, that's true, and I might have suffered from it, but I did screw up with a couple of my choices, so I'm not sure I'd have been any worse if I hadn't taken them.
I really want to see GW implement like a 4-week lead time limit.
Yes,
and
yeah.
So
it shouldn't be so bad this time because we haven't seen the January release schedule, have we?
We haven't.
But they're releasing a shed load of stuff in November, aren't they?
That was another point that we had on our list to discuss, and it looks
that's why I neatly did it there without drawing attention to it.
Well done. Shit. So new warbands, from what's been leaked online, don't know if people have seen this or not, but new warbands due, Rippers, Snarlfangs, Iron Souls, Condemnals and Lady Harrow's Mournflight should all be landing on the 23rd of November.
Yes.
So that's about 3 or so weeks off. 3 and a bit. So in 3 weeks on Saturday, something like that.
Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed they're releasing all of them at once. And there's something called a Beastgrave gift pack as well, isn't there? Coming out.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that even is. Like, what is that? But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I am quite happy to see that Ripper's Snarlfangs are arriving late November, because I think that means the chances of a new warband coming out before the January Grand Clash are very slim.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So I'm really hoping that means Snarlfangs arrive end of November. We've then got December and a little bit of January before the Grand Clash to let those new cards bed in. And
but there's going to be new cards from the Condemners and the whatever they're called, the Ghosts.
Yeah, the Mournflight. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, because they're going to have new cards. There's going to be shed loads of new cards, and yeah, I'll be interested to see how they're settled. But I don't think there'll be any more. I hope. We got a comment here from I am Tib says, love the fact that different formats has made it the Gathering player. I perfectly understand that, but I agree Games Workshop could explain it more clearly. Yes, I don't really have a problem with there being different formats, but it's they need to just be more clear about when and where you can play those formats, and have very delineated documentation about them. I think more crazy spells are needed. Yes, I think spells are a bit lackluster at the moment. Andrew, I'd agree with that.
But then you haven't got any less spells than you had before. No,
that's true. Yeah, but there aren't any new. There haven't been any new interesting ones, and a few. I think I don't know, Pete. I just agree with Andrew because he's nice.
Well, he did better than us in the tournament, so he's got
no exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. There do appear to be some more cards coming along that look interesting, which I'm quite excited to see how that goes. I just don't want too much, because if you get too much, it just starts getting to that mountain of cards again that we've just trimmed it down, and I like this smaller set of cards. Yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be less because there's more faction-specific ones.
True.
There's always going to be less universals, which I think is good. I think it's good because hopefully less dross on the universal front.
I really want to see them implement a faction fraction. I think I'd like to see some kind of minimum 4 faction-specific objectives, 4 ploys, and 4 upgrades, or something like
Controversial.
that.
Controversial at 10 to 11.
I think I'd like something like that.
Yeah. The Grimwatch, my previous deck had loads of faction cards in it. Their faction cards are very nice.
They are very nice. It
would be nice to see more faction cards. In some ways, I'd rather they didn't have you must take this many faction cards. I'd rather the faction cards were a bit more, well, I'd like to play those rather than the Oryx. It's like, I don't want any of those. But we'll see.
Andrew's also pointed out it wasn't totally fair him playing me, because he'd watched me played about 50 times before, so he knew all my moves. That's true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
So we did have some questions from Ed, and we probably should cover those, seeing as he did take the time to actually ask us, and we've only got about 10 or so minutes left.
10 minutes.
So Ed asked us, well, his first question was, I'm going to pick some of the easier ones first. Oh god, none of them are easy. So he says, what's your favourite model sculpt of all time? It can be Fantasy Battle or other out of production things. So I will say, and I'll give you a moment to think about that, Robin. I'll chip in immediately and just start talking.
Okay.
I'll just open my mouth and see what comes out. I do find that these days, nearly all the models that come out are just amazing. And just, whilst I have some very fond memories of some of the old models, like the old Horned one from the Skaven Fantasy Battle range, whilst I have very fond memories of wanting those models, because they were this big and that was gigantic for the time. Now you're sitting there and you're like, okay, yeah, but we've got like this kind of thing now instead, and it's like, this is like twice the mass of those kind of models. They're about a 16th of the weight because they're plastic instead of lead now, and the casting quality is just so good. There are so many models now they keep bringing out, and even though I'm not going to collect that range, I just sit there and think, I wouldn't mind collecting that. I wouldn't mind buying that model, but I wouldn't be able to paint it and do it justice either. So I have a problem that I like so much of the stuff GW do. I like the style of their models. I like the casting quality of their models. They're just amazing to me, the whole thing.
Well, I like Fantasy Flight's Boba Fett models. because I love Boba Fett. So I like those. The sculpts aren't as good as GW's, but I do like those. My favourite GW model, I really liked when it came out, the Cypher model.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was really evocative and interesting, and I really like that model. I tend to like smaller one. I don't really like monsters. I like smaller one model.
Yeah.
Fighters. I love the Grail Knights. My favourite ever models were the Grail Knights from nostalgia days.
One sort of recent-ish, well, not that recent actually, but the Blight Kings and the newer Nurgle models they've done have been absolutely fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
They're good. Yeah, I mean the models are great. Underworld, my favourite model. I don't know actually.
Ooh, what were my
I don't know. I like Bright Shield, even though she's fairly she's fairly standard. I like Bright. I like Bright Shield. I think that's a nice. The Warhammer Cross World Dancer. Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, I like that one.
But isn't that the one that's got the standard sort of? I've got to sort of have a sort of flat pose, so I'm going to have one arm up, one arm down.
But it's jumping over a log. It's very dynamic.
Oh, no, he's talking about the Warhammer Quest War Dancer. You're talking about
You're talking about the
Banoffee Tracker, aren't you?
Yeah, the Banoffee Tracker. I am.
Thedra's not bad. Thedra's not a bad model. Some of the Gits models are really nice and have a lot of flavour to them. There are just so many, I think. Kyle Beach has said that he loves the old Kaosdorf models with the big hats and the curly beards and stuff. I agree, I like those, but I think that the Forge World ones are
they're of their time.
The Forge World ones are fantastic.
They're like prawn cocktail for starters at Christmas dinner. You all remember it fondly, but you wouldn't want it now.
Well, I don't know. I could do with a prawn cocktail. Prawn cocktail and some chips. Oh,
fair
lovely. So hopefully that helped you, Ed. Probably not, because we didn't really pick, but.
Actually, I like the ghosts. Suddenly, I think the ghost models are amazing, and that's all of them. Just anything with the floaty, cloaky things.
I do like that.
The Everhanged is a fantastic model.
I kind of like the way GW are going with their AOS warbands and stuff, where they've all got quite a strong theme. Whereas in the old Warhammer Fantasy Battle days, it used to be like you'd have a block of skeletons and a block of zombies and a small block of mummies, and then you'd have some bigger based ghosts and stuff like that. Now you've got like a ghostish army, and then you've got the skeleton army, and you've got these new skelly transformers coming out and stuff like that, which I'm not actually that fond of. But yeah, I like that the theme they're going through there.
Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand the difference, but we'll move on.
And then another question he asked us: where do we see the channel in 5 years' time? Probably shut.
I was thinking about this question earlier. Where do we see it, and where would we like to be? Are probably two different answers. I see it as being in much the same place, really. Probably in reality, maybe getting a few more videos out.
A couple more 100 viewers.
I would hope we've been building a couple of thousand a year.
Yeah, about that.
I don't know if we'll slow down. But actually, as to what innovations are going to come, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd love to be doing this 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah,
that's what I'd love to be doing in 5 years' time. But I can't in reality see that happening.
No, sadly not. I mean, I know like the guys over at Mini Wargaming, they've made that their career, but I think they had certain things in place which enabled them to do it much easier than us. In that, I think they used to have a game shop. So they had a place that they could play in. They obviously had a cheaper source of models coming in. They had somewhere that they could play without any getting in the way of anybody else. Also, they were in Canada, which meant that space was dirt cheap for them, whereas over here we'd have to take out a second mortgage just to get a tiny little room somewhere. And children as well are a big factor for us, because obviously we've got them, so we have to factor those and families in. I do believe that the Mini Wargame guys also had families as kids at the time as well, but I think for them it was easier to balance those up.
Yeah, it's difficult to see how to fit it better around family life and obviously your work life, Pete. But I would love to be able to. Well, even if we could just dedicate, if in 5 years' time we could dedicate 1 day a week to it, that would be awesome. So that we could then make more content. I kind of figure snowball there.
That if you can get that tipping point, so if we could spend a day a week doing it, the amount of stuff we could get done in that day would be quite a lot of stuff, which would then mean we would get more stuff out on the channel, which means we get more people watching. We'd get maybe more people would join Patreon. Anybody who wants to check out Patreon, do look at in the links. It's a really easy way to support us, and you get extra content and games. All of our Patreon supporters who are in the channel now will vouch for the fact that it's worth the $5-10 a month that you might have to pay out. But it's that cycle of the more you work you can get out, the more people see you, the more, and it just builds. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to think in 5 years' time we might have a day a week that we can donate to.
Yeah, I mean, we played Wildlands this week, didn't we? Which was really nice to play a different game. And I don't think that many people have watched it, but it'd be really nice to be able to play other games that other people enjoy. I was talking to somebody about on the back of the Wildlands about playing Aristeia, which we played one game of, didn't quite get a feel for it, and I've never played again. It will be nice to be able to play more games and get more of a feel for them. Like Super Fantasy Brawl would be great. So yeah, we're going to have that in our remit for a few weeks to see whether people enjoy it and if we enjoy it. But actually now it's kind of like, if it's not going to work, there's no point in doing it. Which is a shame. But it seems to be all you guys love the Underworlds content more than everything else. So I imagine that's going to be the main focus. And I'm guessing the more we do,
which I don't really have a
the
problem
better
with,
for everybody.
Because there's
I
lots
don't.
of stuff
Especially
that we can cover.
Especially now.
Yes, and there's
especially now after Nightfall, I was thinking, I'm not sure that I want to keep playing
this one. Ooh.
But actually the game at the moment is brilliant.
Yeah.
So. Are we not meant to be using the Discord to ask questions now?
I
hope you
can.
You can. I haven't got mine with me.
Matt has put some in there. 10 minutes left.
Okay.
He says he condenses 9 pages into just a few questions, so we'll try and get onto those as well. Question the first: when the heck do you think we're getting an updated FAQ? That's a good question, and I hope we're going to get one in a few weeks after the Grand Clash.
Did you ask that on Facebook today? I'm sure somebody did. I think it will be soon. As I was hoping it would be today, so that we could talk about it tonight. But we'll talk about it next week, maybe. I reckon it'll be soon.
Yeah.
We've had 2 Grand Clashes. The Grimwatch Hex thing and the other thing, I forgot what it is off the top of my head, needs resolving, so I reckon they'll get it out soon. Yep.
And another question he asked was, have we seen the leak for the Gobbos? We did mention that earlier, that they're coming out, as well as the Dreadfane Warbands, hopefully on the 23rd. And how hyped are we for getting them? I'm looking forward to them. I can't say I'm massively hyped for them, but I am interested to see what they're going to be like.
I'm definitely interested to see what their mechanics are going to be. I think I'm still getting over the Grimwatch.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm ready, but it is another nearly a month away, isn't it? So I'll be ready for them by then. I think
the Wolves might give a more, because there's only 3 of them and they're going to be fast. So I think they're going to be our first fast, heavy-hitting warband. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they mix the meta up.
Yes.
Carl Beach also mentioned get to the stage on the channel like GMG where we dedicate specific days to specific games. Yeah, I mean, if we had a day a week where we could record stuff, we could probably do possibly 2 or 3 different games, or 3 or 4 of one game each week. And
we could cycle it.
So something like that would be awesome. We would love doing that.
Yeah.
The only other option we've got is possibly trying to see if we can bring other people onto the channel, because obviously if we have more people, then we can do more work between. But obviously you have to split up any profit you make. So they'd have to have, if we had 4 people, they'd each have to have £0.25 for each month. But
25p each a month.
Yeah. So. But that kind of thing,
a podcast. David Christie said a podcast, which is interesting. Kind of, this is the closest we get to a podcast, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We could do a podcast, but again, it's and that's something that could come in the future, where the family life is a little less sort of stressful. But I don't know about you, Pete. As children get older, evening time becomes more squeezed.
Yeah, you get less time because they're still sitting there at like 10 o'clock at night or whatever. And you're going, can you shut off now? Because I want to have a tiny bit of social life.
Yeah, I'm not sure this does count. We're socialising.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll be a bit more cutthroat and say that a podcast, whilst great, I don't think generates you any kind of income. I mean, not that YouTube really generates us anything. Patreon really is the platform that helps get the channel lifted up and gives us more resources to do stuff. And we will be buying our first serious piece of kit soon using Patreon funds. So more Patreon the better. Andrew
said, will we do any more talking heads? I suppose this once a week is actually like a talking head. It very much is. I would like to do talking heads. Things in my household have been a bit stressful in the last 6 to 8 weeks, so it's really been a case of just getting 6 to 8 years, just a case of getting the decks out and getting the games recorded. I'd love to do talking heads because the game's quite an interesting place at the moment, but I haven't. It's almost like the talking heads for me. They almost come like as a flash of inspiration. Oh, I could talk about this, and then I kind of do it. And I haven't actually had one of those recently, probably because my head's been filled with other things.
And I mean, there's been so much for us to try and do, and not right now. People really want to. They obviously want to see battle reports. They want to see these games, or at least I presume they do. And that's probably a talking point for another session: is what do people want to see? Do they want to see us playing the games? We're assuming they do, or do they want to see other content? Do they want to see us talking about the games, or doing more tactical videos instead of battle reports? Maybe that's something we can look at.
Nobody wants to see us doing tactical videos.
Well, we can at least talk about what we do, and then people know exactly what to avoid doing.
Jason says his 15-year-old keeps beating him. My 14-year-old doesn't even deign to play me or speak to me.
Yeah.
so
my 11-year-old shows no interest in the game.
Yeah. And so and he would leave me alone, but I think I feel self-conscious doing the live chatting before he's gone to bed. So there's an interesting. I don't know whether that would change it.
And the other question that Ed asked was, what was the best moment of being an agent of Sigmar so far? Well, for me, I think it was when we got Simon on the channel to play a game. He was so made up to be in your garage in a freezing, whenever it was, freezing evening. We're all sitting there in our coats and everything, and he looked so happy to be coming along and playing. I was like, wow, that is mental. And I think the other part of that was obviously coming along to the Grand Clash as well, and meeting people who asked for selfies with us and stuff, and it was just, that was mental to me. That was awesome.
He's just in it for the glory, really, aren't you, Pete?
Just in it for the flash. So I've really
I'm going to say, because it's really going to be really creepy, I'm going to say these live chats are the best thing. I did really enjoy meeting everybody at the Grand Clash. I enjoyed doing the quiz in the evening. It was really fun. But I think these live chats and kind of talking to people who enjoy the content, and all you guys are great comments and everything, that's what I really enjoy. Kind of the games, they can become a bit isolating, so we just play them. It's like a conveyor belt of playing games, and then the comments on there, we get lovely comments on the videos, but also they're the ones that are kind of, you can't use that card anymore, and or you should have moved over there, or you didn't roll enough dice, which is fine.
Yeah.
But this is like a whole hour of positivity about the hobby, so I really enjoy that.
So I can't remember who LXASX457 is. Sorry,
is that Matt?
I think that might be Crit Def Matt. It could be Matt. If you're talking about the card that I put on Patreon, it was just one of the cards that Robin had held up to the camera, but it had so much exposure on it you could barely see what it was. So it was just. It was just. I for anyone who's not on Patreon,
wasn't a teaser.
I like to put up little pictures every now and then, little shots from the games I'm editing and stuff to see if
silly things that happen,
just to see if people can guess what they are. Yeah. But to add to your thing, Robin, one of my favourite parts was going to the Grand Clash, and it wasn't playing the games necessarily. It was just meeting people, not because they wanted selfies or to tell us that we're wonderful and all that kind of stuff, but that does help. But it was mainly just to be talking and sitting with people who love the game, because we've only got each other for the most part, and I think you're right, the live chat really helps bring that community together, so we can it just helps to, sorry, Matt's really distracted me with his comments now, sorry Matt, I didn't mean to disappoint you. It's just meeting up with other people, and I'm really envious of people who go to a lot of tournaments, do the blogs, know other people who write other blogs, are in the same area of those other people, all the people who live up in the Lead Belt, up north, and that kind of thing, because they have so many other people in the hobby that they can sort of talk to on an almost daily basis. And and
you've only got
I've only got you, Robin, but you are my everything.
Yeah, which was depressing enough for anyway.
You are my everything, Robin. Without you, there would be no channel.
Without you, Peter wouldn't freeze my arse off in the gouge every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I say thank you.
There are a couple of times every now and then when you're looking at the weather and you're going, it's going to be -5 tomorrow. Great.
It's really quite cold now. The weather's suddenly changed. It's really quite chilly. I had to take my wife to and from yoga today, and it was cold going out both directions. And tomorrow I shall be sitting in the garage.
You'll notice as it goes on, our intro videos will slowly start getting bigger and bigger as we put on more and more layers of clothing.
Yeah, I should be wearing a scarf tomorrow night, I should think. Right, it's 11:05, Pete. Are there any other questions?
I don't think there are any more. I must apologise once more to Matt. I am very sorry for leading up the garden path, as it were.
Although he's only got himself to blame, because he's about 3 different people, and I thought they were all individuals, and now I've just found it's just one guy. So we've actually got less followers than I thought we had. So what goes around comes around. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
The only other thing I'd like for the channel would be a place where we could. You will see sporadic gloved hands reappearing on the channel, fingerless gloved hands.
I've got some fingerless gloves for this year. Yes.
Not freeze to death. And our intro videos will start to. There'll be bobble hats and scarves, and and where you, Jess? You're in Oz, aren't you? Yeah, disgustingly hot. I bet it's going to be pretty horrific. Yeah. David Christie, I haven't found new intro music yet. I need to work on that one. I've got some music that we use in the background for our videos. I'll probably use that. But if I could have one thing for the channel, it would just be a little studio. I would love that.
Yes,
it would be lovely. Not least because we wouldn't have to fend off the spiders and then sit in the garage hoping that the heater won't pack in and we die of hypothermia. It would just be nice to have a space with things on the walls.
It would be good.
So we could hang up pictures and stuff like that. But you never know, one day maybe.
So 5 years' time, maybe that's what we should be looking for.
Yeah, I reckon that would be my aim in 5 years.
Well, it kind of comes back to that. I think I've said it before. The real estate is so expensive that it's just like we've got. It might be freezing cold, but we've got somewhere to play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, we can, we'll go and play there. To rent a space we'll have to be doing phenomenally better than we are now.
I mean, not that we're not doing miles better than we ever thought we would. Frankly, I mean,
now
is amazing.
I can't believe it.
We're nearly up to 60 Patreon supporters, which frankly is stunning. Yeah. It's just brilliant, and we are. Absolutely over the moon with all the support we've had. The more we can get, the better, frankly, and the more we can get, then hopefully the better we can make the channel. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks guys. Jeff's trying to get us to move to the north again.
Well,
it's quite funny because my wife is she's a compulsive right move addict. She's always looking on right move for houses, and every now and again we talk about moving. Not seriously, but I can't move because I can't move away from Pete.
No, you can't do that.
If I move away from Pete, the channel would finish.
Well, we could always try and play everything on Vassal or whatever it is, or Vassal, whatever it was.
I just don't feel that without the chemistry of being in the room together, Pete, I just don't think it would work.
Yeah, unless we can look across a crowded table at each other.
This is working, I suppose. We're not in the room now, are we?
That's true. I mean, maybe we should try that one week. Maybe we should get Vassal or Vassal or however you pronounce the frigging thing. Maybe we should try that one day. What do people would they like to see? A digital version of the games without battle cam? Let me know. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Probably the north. It's in the north. Yeah.
Cheap beer though, like it says, and cheap housing. If we sold up,
don't really drink.
If we sold up and moved up north, we could probably buy an entire extra house, just for recording in. Robin and Vaseline. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yorkshire tea, Andrew, not beer. Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
But there you go. So yeah, let us know if you'd like to see us play some online games instead. Maybe we could try that. You never know. At least it might stop us dying of the cold in the winter.
Yeah, Jeff says he's looking forward to Warhammer Underworld online. Yes, they made a bit of an announcement about that yesterday, didn't they? That they're going to delay it slightly, but there's going to be a new beta testing
there will be
thing coming up
as well.
Yes, so that's quite good.
After seeing the Spokal Guard come out, I am interested by that.
Yeah.
If only I had
Andrew says that you will drink if you live in the north.
It's not a pastime, it's a must. Still, so hopefully you guys found that interesting. Do let us know. Stick a comment in if you're watching it now or if you're watching it after the fact, later on, next day or whatever. Would you like to see us do some digital gaming instead, like TTS or Vassal, or how you pronounce that, and that kind of thing? Or do you need us to be on that table? Because I do think the table helps.
I think so. I'm definitely a physical guy. What can I say?
And there's the other reason why I keep coming down your house in the freezing cold.
Exactly. And on that
note, I think it's time we say goodnight to everybody. So thank you all for tuning in, guys. Like I say, do check out Patreon if you want to find out ways to help us and get some extra games in there. We are deeply grateful for all of our Patreon supporters and for all of you guys who've tuned in tonight, and everybody who watches our YouTube reports and comments on our videos and gives us the thumbs up and says that they like watching and all the rest of it. It's just a massive ego boost, and we couldn't be doing it without all of you.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
So we'll see you soon in the Beastgrave.
Bye.